Hey everybody, Rob here. It's time for a few stories from the ProRevenge archives. First one, take my money, sell me crap, then be prepared to lose your business. Let's jump right in. So, a few decades back, I was involved with a group of guys with a little money, and we wanted something substantial to invest in. We decided to buy a restaurant franchise. I will not even say what kind, as that could identify me. Well, everything was going along swimmingly until my partners backed out. I, unfortunately, was the face of the group and my signature was on the bottom line, so I got stuck with running the place. It soon became apparent that there were a lot of inconsistencies. The big number one was that the sales in the prospectus were nowhere near what was being generated. Then there were other things, customers calling for their regular order. Well, it turned out that my particular franchise had been used for the past several years to deal grass and various drugs. The former manager had made some serious coin and was not happy that I had purchased his place. Well, life is not fun when you have just sunk 6 figures, and the likelihood is that you have flushed it down the toilet. However, I was not going to be trifled with. First, I called the accounting firm, who signed off on the prospectus. The partner in charge was taken aback. They had never signed off. I presented myself in their offices and spent the next few hours with them and their attorneys. Their name could not be associated with something fraudulent. Next, I wanted my money back, and the chief franchisor told me that they would immediately put mine up for sale, but the market was not quite as high as it was when I'd bought it less than 3 months previously. The prick had the audacity to demand that I paid up for my last order from the commissary, something else to consider. I took the price list provided by the central commissary that we as franchisees were compelled to use. Buying fruits, vegetables, cheese, and meat from outside the system would be accompanied by fines from the franchisor. I marched myself back to the accounting firm and asked for a bit of analysis. Turns out, commissary prices were from 10 to 300% higher than market. In other words, the franchisor was not interested in food, they were interested in turning around franchises. Well, that little report found its way into the hands of 20 local franchisees. Suddenly, the central commissary was not being used. The district manager starts showing up writing fines. Turns out, the district manager is the guy who was supplying the manager of my franchise. I have him on discarded VHS security tapes selling. So I take the tapes to the accounting firm for secure storage. Then I go to the franchisor's offices. I lay it on the line that I have their district guy selling drugs in my restaurant. They laugh at me until I tell them that I am the one who supplied the report to the rest of their franchisees. Oh, and by the way, we are starting an action against you. I then showed them that we had placed liens on the building they owned, their commissary, their homes, and their vehicles. I said, I have enough to put you guys in jail. So their mental giants sit me down, write up a little release, and go get me a certified check for every dime I put into the franchise. I agree to the release. However, they do not realize that the gouging and the evidence is still in the hands of others. All they succeed in doing was to get me off the list of owners suing them. Well, the case came to court, and who do you think was on the stand giving a complete rundown? One of them stood up in court and said, "Didn't we pay you to shut up? No, you refunded me the money you stole." Now they had 19 other guys taking them apart. I heard one of the franchisors cried when they took his Porsche. His wife left him soon thereafter. A lot of the comments on this story talk about how they should have had OP sign an NDA when they paid him out, but I don't think they realize that an NDA doesn't cover you if you're giving evidence for a crime committed. On to our next story, how to screw an antivirus company who is actually screwing you by spreading virus and malware. Let's jump right in. I posted this on the Ask Reddit sub and was told this would be a good story here. There used to be an antivirus company who gave big discounts on electronics over at Tiger Direct, Amazon, etc. They sold it as a bundled item with hardware like memory, SSD, hard drive, etc. I mean $70 mail-in rebate on a hard drive, so I could get a 1TB drive for $20. Seemed too good to be true, so I did some research. Turns out, they are not antivirus. They are worse than a virus. They basically took over your computer, pop up ads on the taskbar, your homepage gets changed. They filter out ads from websites and insert their own ads. They install a root certificate on Windows, so now they can monitor your secure SSL TLS connection to websites. I'm talking about monitoring your transactions with your bank. It was a nasty malware. To top it all off, they enroll you in a subscription plan, $79 a year. They just hope you forget to cancel, so in a year they can make up the discount they gave you and continue to charge every year. Amazon customers were complaining canceling is almost impossible, and it is impossible to remove the program completely once you install it. The only option is to rebuild Windows from scratch. So I thought, I'll get the program, just won't install it. Wrong. Here's the process to get the rebate. You get the program on a CD. You install it on your computer. During the install, you have to give your credit card number, phone number, email, and physical address. So basically, they got you by the balls at that point. Then, the program contacts their server so they can verify you did install the program. Then, they send you the rebate form to your email, which you print out and send to them. And they will mail you an Amex gift card. I know this because my poor friend did all that. I spent hours rebuilding his laptop. So, how to f these people who are trying to f you? Install a virtual machine software like VirtualBox. Create a virtual machine, which is a computer running inside your computer. They think they got access to your main computer and go hog wild doing whatever they do. They can't tell. Meanwhile, your main computer remains unaffected. Use the virtual credit card feature of Citibank, Discover, or PayPal. Generate a virtual credit card number with a credit limit $5 and an expiry date 2 months from now. Create an email just for this purpose. I own many domains, so it is easy for me, or just use Hotmail, etc. Install the software on the virtual machine, giving the virtual credit card number, email, and a fake phone number. Pro tip, in the US, any number with a 0 or 1 or 555 after the area code do not exist. Do the remaining steps. Once you get the gift card in the mail, use it immediately. Delete or roll back the virtual machine. Delete the email address. They were surprisingly prompt in sending the card. I got it within a week or two. Sell the hard drive back on eBay or Amazon at the current price. Profit. A year later, when they realize they can't charge my credit card, ignore the letters they send you in the mail about how much they are worried about you and your computer, because their servers can't contact your computer and they can't contact you. I must have done this half a dozen times before they canceled the deal. This sounds like CA Antivirus, who changed their name to Total Defense at one point. They used to pay a $15 commission for sales reps who sold the software. No wonder it was so widely spread. On to our last story. I thought she was checking in for a one-night stand. Boy, was I glad to be wrong. Let's jump right in. I'd been working as a front desk agent for about a week. It's my first time working at a hotel, so I'm still learning the ropes, even though I'd previously worked as a check-in agent for a cruise line. I'm working the afternoon shift, and things have been pretty slow. Couple of check-ins here and there, and that's about it. It's about 7 p.m. when this lady, we'll call her Libby, comes in and, after talking things out at the valet, makes her way over to me. We exchange greetings, and she tells me she would like to reserve a room, but only for a couple of hours. Obviously, we're not a motel, so I let her know the minimum of time she could reserve a room for would be a full night. After asking what the price would be, $240, which is way too much for the kind of hotel I work at, by the way, she agrees and hands me her credit card. This is where things get weird. As soon as I ask her for ID to make the reservation, Libby backtracks and says that she doesn't want her name anywhere on the reservation and would like to make it under the name of the guy who would be joining her later instead. I pause for a moment, and after asking her again if she was planning on using the room as well, I tell her that I at least need to put her name into the accompanying list for the room. I reassure her that only the employees would be able to see said list and that no, the guy she was planning to meet wouldn't see it. I would like to make it very clear that throughout this whole interaction, Libby has been super composed, kind, and understanding. At this point, however, I'm just thinking she's here for a one-night stand and doesn't want the dude to know anything about her because she's probably married or something, which I can work with, sure, but why not just actually get a motel, lady? This theory of mine is further solidified when Libby asks me to make a note in the reservation so that if any point we need to address her by name around the dude, we wouldn't call her by her real name, and instead, she gives me a fake name, or so I thought, to address her by. At this point, I'm obviously bewildered, but still trying to be accommodating and trying really hard not to let it show how much I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. We go through the rest of the check-in process, and she even goes as far as showing me a picture of the dude so I'll know who he is when he comes in. I hand her the key and she heads to her room. About an hour later, mystery dude walks in, let's call him Jake. My coworker, who has no clue of anything, ends up checking him in, so I don't really get to see much of Jake. To be honest, at this point, I still wasn't giving the whole thing much thought, other than that's a bit weird. Not even 30 minutes have passed since Jake went up when Libby comes back down and hands me both keys. They'd both received one each, says, "Thank you," in the most serious yet cordial way, and then walks off. Multiple thoughts went through my mind as this lady was making her way to the valet. 1. That was way too fast even for a quickie. 2. Why the heck did she give me 2 keys? Where's Jake? 3. Libby, please tell me you didn't murder Jake. Security is standing behind me staring Libby down, probably having the same thought process as I am. The supervisor for security usually spends the night hanging out at front desk. My coworker and I are whispering with each other, still trying to figure out what the heck happened, because that did not look like a lady who had just had a pleasant romp in the sheets. Cue Jake coming down the stairs and, okay, we can breathe, he's not dead. Now what happened next we couldn't see because we suddenly had an onslaught of distressed passengers, like 30. I wanted to die. So I thought I wouldn't find out what the heck had actually happened between Libby and Jake. But then the worker from the valet came over and boy did he have some tea to spill. Turns out that Libby had gone as far as asking valet guy to park her car in a way that the license plate wouldn't be visible. Why? Because turns out that Jake is Libby's husband. And you might be asking yourself by this point, why has this lady gone through so much trouble to hide anything that might give her identity away from her husband? Well, dear reader, because the alias that Libby gave me just so happened to be the name of the girl Jake was cheating on her with. This woman somehow got her cheating ass husband to believe that his girlfriend had booked them a sweet, sweet night at the hotel, only for him to show up and find his wife sitting on the bed instead. This badass motherfucker of a woman came back downstairs after probably massacring the heck out of this idiotic boy with not a hair out of place and calmly had the valet bring both of their cars back and then patiently waited for Jake Schmake to get his sorry ass back to the lobby so that she could extend her hand and demand their house keys from him. She then got into her car and just drove away. The only thing that would have made this even better was if Jake Schmake's girlfriend had also been there to tear into him as well. I like to think she had a part to play in this whole thing, since how else would Libby have managed to trick him into getting to the hotel? Point is, this woman is all I aspire to be. Okay, did anybody else think that the revenge in this story was gonna be on the lady who got the room? I was so surprised when it turned around and she was getting revenge on her cheating husband. Well done. I want to thank all 3 OPs for posting their stories to the ProRevenge subreddit. You can visit them at the links in the description below. Please go there and give them an upvote. Once again, this is Rob from Karma Comment Chameleon saying thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share it with your friends. And we'll see you in the next one.